Hi, welcome to Ocean Yumi's channel. So today I'm gonna look at two pieces of, I'll say, news that's coming my sites. So the first one is of a family that got stabbed in South London. So this story is pictured family killed in bloodbath stabbing in London that left 4 dead bodies. A granddaughter who was stabbed to death and three relatives to moved into the house just a week before the attack.
Does your bank need CPR when you talk CTR? Well, it's time for a change. Say goodbye to your bank.
3 women and a man stabbed to death in London house as man arrested for murder LBC. 4 people have died after being found stabbed in a South London home and a man has been arrested on suspicion of murder. Police were called to the address on Delaford Road, Southwark, at about 1:40 a.m. on Monday to reports of a disturbance. Officers forced entry and found 3 women and a man with what are thought to be stab wounds. Despite attempts to save them, all 4 died at the scene. Their next of kin are being contacted. The man who was arrested on suspicion of murder was taken to a South London police station, where he is still in custody. Police believe all 5 people know each other and detectives from the Met are investigating. The middle section of Delaford Road is blocked off with metal fencing. Several uniformed officers can be seen within the cordon on the residential street, where 3 white forensic tents have also been erected. Anne Burkitt, whose rear bedroom looks onto the property, said she was woken up by sirens and a helicopter hovering overhead just before 2 a.m. However, she and her husband did not go outside their house to look at what was happening. It's devastating. You hear all of this but you never assume it's going to be right on your own doorstep, she said. I'm a foster carer and I've got children in my care. And now I've got to protect them now because of what's happened. A pensioner whose house overlooks the scene told the Evening Standard. There were loads of police and paramedics working on the victims outside. It looked like a bloodbath, a scene of carnage. They were my neighbors, I think. A lovely couple. I can't believe anyone would want to hurt them. She added. They have been here for years. I am so shocked, it's a nightmare. I can't tell you how nice these people were. Harriet Harman, the MP for Camberwell and Peckham, arrived at the scene on Monday morning and talked to police.
Does your bank need CPR when you talk CTR? Well, it's time for a change. Say goodbye to your bank and hello to uni.
Brit brace for coldest May in 20.
So that's one bit. So let's go to the other bit. So this is the scene at the murder. And they were saying that the police also found another man who was tasered by the officers before his arrest. The 28-year-old from Lucian currently being treated in hospital. He is in a stable condition. Police have officially identified the 4 family members who were stabbed to death in Terence House. Donton Blake, 58, and his partner, Jamaica-born NHS worker Dollet Hill, 64, were both killed at their house in Delaford Road on Monday. Mrs. Hill's daughter, Tanisha Ofolo, I can't say her name, 45, also known as Raquel, who lived in Kennington, and Mrs. Lawful daughter, Samantha Drummond, 27, who lived in Forest Hill, also died. A friend of Mrs. Drummond's told reporters that she had temporarily moved into the house in Bermondsey while building work was carried out at her own flat. Richard Brumbat told the Evening Standard she had only recently moved out temporarily while her bathroom was done. Samantha took her cat and went back to the family home. We were devastated. We got on so well. She loved music and worked at NatWest. Post-mortem examinations are expected to take place on Tuesday and Wednesday. Guy's and St Thomas's NHS Foundation Trust tribute to Miss Hill, who was an active trade union member. Alistair Goulet, Director of Estates and Facilities, said, "We are devastated to hear about the tragic death of Dolette, who worked as a housekeeping assistant in our pharmacy department for more than 21 years before her retirement in 2018. Dolette was a well-respected colleague who also helped to improve the workplace for others as an active Unison representative. Our thoughts are with the Dolette family and friends and all who worked with her." Detective Chief Inspector Linda Bradley, who is leading the investigation into the deaths, that it will be protracted inquiry. She said this was truly a tragic incident, and I fully recognize that the distress for the family and the community will be overwhelming. We are conducting through and detailed investigation into the facts, and we are appealing to anyone who can assist with any information to come forward. If you know anything or saw anything that you think might help us piece together the events which led to this, then do not hesitate. Please call the police. You can call Crime Stoppers. Okay. So that was a stabbing in southeast London, Bermondsey side, they said. And I think I have a relative in Jamaica talking.
Very hard for that let me live bad with people. I know I can't believe it. If it's real, to myself, me not fret that way hard, but me just every minute me just hard for me believe it, but me know it happened, but can't believe it.
Was the relationship between you and your sister like?
Oh, very good relationship. Me have a thing with me and her with T-bag, PG tip and T-bag in England. I was in England too, and my sister, but me don't know how, but when me tell him about the PG tip and me like PG tip T-bag, and if anybody come in, she always send a box of that T-bag for me. I tell you the truth. Everybody, anyone who come my friend them and so. And me say, when me hear me say, boy, I not get no more T-bag again. Me have T-bag till me give people T-bag out. Straight T-bag, PG tip. Me don't know hear about joke with it. Me don't remember how that joke come in. And she always send me with PG tip.
How often would you communicate?
Well, we do phone one another. The half thing how we communicate are when him send my tea bag. And she have a thing when me tell somebody since then, if I even appear a socks my sister I care for me when they come in. She treat me very good, man. We have a good relationship. And we heard say my sister, my husband, my daughter, my granddaughter. That's why. That married me so. And the granddaughter, sometimes when you watch something on the television and you watch some things and when you look you see the same thing. But I watch, I have one program probably when I watch most time America where they do killing. And it's always the boyfriend, the first boyfriend I ended up, and the second one will come in, you know.
So that's what you heard happened, that it was a boyfriend who did it?
The granddaughter. Our granddaughter they with one boyfriend, and then they leave, and they with a second boyfriend. I don't sure if they don't hold on for one of them. I don't know if it's the first one or the second one. But there's between there, so. You know.
How long we grow together here? I was living in England for 19 years. Go on to the house at Christmas time, have dinner. When we finish, we go home back. Go to the same church. So yesterday when I hear, I start cry. I couldn't believe. You see, it's Auntie Dalet just gone, and Raquel and Samantha and Denton. Know them very good. See, so it's really sad at this time for us.
What type of person was she?
Oh God. If you go through Marant Bay, she live a lethal. And anyway, if you say Dalet, and anybody will know Dalet. It's she Dalet. If you say sad Dalet make you laugh, she's the type of girl.
How would you describe everything that happened to the entire family?
But it's hard, you know. It's hard. It's very hard. It's very hard for Dalet not live bad with people. She's the one. She didn't do anybody anything for them. Yeah.
Anyways, that's so sad that he's saying that, because he actually spoke about her in such highest, I don't know, acknowledgement. It's sad anyway, because it's not that far from me, I think. Bermondsey, it's not that far from me in London, here in London. So they apparently caught the person who did it, this young man who did it. Let me go to it.
They made a dreadful discovery of 4 people who had been stabbed. Despite the best efforts of officers and paramedics, all 4 people were sadly pronounced dead at the scene. I can confirm that the deceased were 3 women, believed to be aged in their mid-60s, 40s and 30s, and 1 man believed to be aged in their mid-60s. I want to offer my heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of all those concerned. This is a deeply shocking incident, and we will do everything we can to provide support to everyone affected at this difficult time. A man in his late 20s was arrested at the address on suspicion of murder, and he is currently in custody. And at this early stage, we're not looking for any other person. We believe that all those involved may have been known to each other. This is a terrible incident, and I fully understand the concern communities will have. In the early hours of this morning, following a call from neighbours, officers forced entry into a house here in Delaford Road. Inside the house, they made a dreadful discovery of 4 people who had been stabbed. Despite the best efforts of officers and paramedics, all 4 people were sadly
So this is Dolet and her daughter. This is Dolet and her daughter that died. Let me see if they showed the guy that did it. No, they didn't show the guy on this one. They didn't show the guy on this one, but they did show him before. Anyways, my condolences to the family anyway, because the way how the scene looked is like they were running from him. So maybe as he stabbed them, they were running, and he did it one at a time. It looks like, or there might have been 2 people involved. It's quite a sad thing to hear that a whole family's been taken out. This lady, the mother, seemed very respected by a lot of people. She, she seemed like she was known in her community. So, it's sad to hear this. But if I hear any more information, or as I haven't added the face of the man, hold on, I might be able to add. Let me find the picture of the guy who did it. There's a picture of him. Okay, this is a picture of the guy that did it. But then so according to this now, the Metro. Boyfriend met girlfriend's family days before the stabbing them to death. So this is the boyfriend that's here. This is the boyfriend that stabbed them. And this is the family. And he killed 3 generations of the same family. A man suspected of killing his girlfriend and 3 family members in a knife rampage was introduced for the first time just days earlier, according to the reports. I can't. Joshua Jerome Jenkins, 28, stayed inside of the home in Bermondsey, South London, when police arrested him early on Monday morning. They smashed down the door and found bodies lying on the floor before tasing the suspect. Neighbours raised the alarm before hearing screams of terror coming from the terraced house. Jenkins, I will say the name wrong, excuse me. is suspected of murdering his girlfriend, Samantha Drummond, 29, along with her mother, Tanya Drummond, 45, grandmother, Dullet Hill, 64, and the recently retired NHS worker partner, Dunton Blake Burke, 59. He had been best friends with Samantha for some time before deciding to give things a try as a couple. A friend of hers said she told the Sun that he had been introduced to the family for the first time on Thursday last week. And he's doing all that. Gosh. He's 28. He's 28 years old. Another family friend added her family would have accepted anything even if they had been friends for a long time, and he had a trouble past, and they were such a loving family, they would have welcomed him with open arms. Yesterday it emerged that Samantha had only moved back to the family home for a week while her flat in Forest Hill, Lewisham was being renovated. No one would have been able to leave the home, as Dolet locks the door and takes the key with her before going to bed, according to Tanya, husband Danny. He told the Mail Online, Tanya stayed with Dolet because she was being treated for cancer. I tried calling her a few times on Sunday night before she didn't pick up. She eventually answered at 11:30 and said she dozed off on the sofa before, but was now heading up to bed. Those was the last words I had with her. So this is Dolet at the bottom left. Her daughter Tanya Drummond's bottom right were both killed. Her other daughter Tracy Henry, top left, is so devastated she's unable to speak to anyone. And this is the retired nurse, 64, and her partner, Dunton Burke, 59, were killed in really, but it looked very bad. The way how the tents look, the way they cover the bodies, This is sad times, sad times. So I'm going to, if any more comes up about this case, I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to go to another situation that's going on over here. So, Home Office deportation to Jamaica. How many people are being forced to leave the UK and why?
No type of life. We want human rights. 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 No type of rights. We want human rights. No type of rights.
So, the Home Office has given the green light for a chartered flight carrying a number of immigrant detainees to take off from Heathrow Airport on Tuesday morning. The deportation flight to Jamaica was originally supposed to transport more than 50 people said to be in the UK illegally back to the Caribbean nation. However, the Court of Appeal intervened on Monday night following with an 11th hour application by Charity de- de- Detention Action. A judge ordered the government not to remove anyone who had not been able to access legal advice due to mobile phones outage. The following the order, some detainees was taken off the flight. Oh, let's check it. Some detainees was taken off the flight while others was flown out of the country. So who is being forced to leave the UK? How many people are being deported? Charity Detention Action said that around 56 people were being held in the two Heathrow Airport detention centres due to be deported. However, an urgent application to the Court of Appeal has meant less than half that number was eventually put onto the plane bound for Jamaica. When asked how many were on board the flight on Tuesday morning, the Chancellor Sajid Saeed said he did not know the exact number, adding, but I think it is around 20 or above 20. If the figure is correct, more than half of the detainees destined to be aboard that flight have been allowed, at least for now, to remain in the UK. The order was granted by Lady Justice Summerlee, who said detainees should not be removed unless the Home Office was satisfied they had across to be a functioning non-O2 SIM card or before the 3rd of February. The exact number of who have been removed has remained in the UK has still not been released. Who are the deportees? Campaigners include Labour MP Dr. Lammy and the SNP Stuart MacDonald have released concerns about the deportees, pointing to the circumstances which have led them to be in the UK and the impact of their removal might have. Some of those chosen to be deported are said to have arrived in the UK as children and have no links to Jamaica and have only ever known life in the UK. There are even fears that there could be British nationals on board the flight. This is denied by the Home Office. The government claims all those being ousted from the UK has been involved in criminality. However, charities involved in the case say most had only been convicted of one-time drug offences when they were young. Mr. Lammy has also claimed that 41 British children should be separated from their fathers if all deportations go ahead. One man facing deportation to Jamaica, who was convicted of drug offence as a teenager, told the PA news agency he identifies as British and has no links to Jamaica after leaving the country at an early age. Ty J. Thompson served half of a 15-month sentence in 2015 after he was convicted of possessing a Class A drug with intent to supply as a 17-year-old. Mr. Thompson, now 23, was brought to Britain as a 5-year-old and lives with his mother and younger brother in South London, having only visited Jamaica twice on a holiday since. I feel like I was born here. Jamaica is not my country, he said. It's not like I am the R word or a murderer. I have made a mistake when I was 17 and it's now going to affect my life. Mr. Thompson said he was groomed by a gang and forced to sell drugs as a teenager and has now reoffended since his release 6 years ago. Many people have come out in the defense of the deportees, with more than 150 MPs signing a letter to the Prime Minister calling on them to stop the flight. There have also been protests outside Downing Street and in the Parliament Square. Why are they being forced to leave the UK? The government says those on board are serious, persistent offenders, including murderers and sexual offenders. This is being contested by advocates and charities and a number of MPs. The Home Office says under the UK Borders Act 2007, a deportation order must be made where a foreign national has been convicted of an offence and received custodial sentences of 12 months or more. This is a subject several exploitation, including and when to do so will be a breach of persons' human rights or the UK obligations under the Refugees. Okay. There is also hold on, let me see if I can find it. You'll see David Lammy. I think I have it. Let me show you. Can we have the one with David Lammy giving his 5 somewhere? I think it's this one. So is it this one? Let me see if it's this one. Oh yes, it is this one. So this guy is, I think he's on one of the deportation list as well, but I'm gonna let it play.
He would never work again. Certainly not here in Britain, his home of 52 years.
They were knocking on my window and the door at the same time, so I thought I'd better go and open the door. As I opened it, he asked me my name. I said my name. He says, well, unfortunately, you're the person they came to look for.
He was taken away, locked up, and told he was booked on a BA flight to Jamaica, a country he left as a 9-year-old boy and never returned to.
Was going on some stress in there. Yeah, I didn't know how I was going to come out. The people nobody weren't believing me. You tell me I'm not British. You want to chuck me out of a country where I've been for 52 years.
The government's hostile environment policy targeting the Windrush generation, citizens of the Commonwealth who came legally to post-war Britain, has been condemned.
Windrush, here to stay!
By campaigners and now by the National Audit Office too.
It still doesn't know how many people might be affected by this. The way in which it implemented its policies has increased the risk that decisions might be made incorrectly and people might suffer harm. And it still hasn't really got to the bottom of who might be affected. And it doesn't seem to be showing enough interest in establishing that.
Mr. Bryan has since met the Home Secretary, Sajid Javid, who's assured him that he will redress this shocking treatment.
What did he say to you?
Well, he was saying that he's sorry that I had to go through things like that, and he would try and sort out the compensation and them things that.
Did he sound sincere?
He did, but I still didn't 100% believe until I see it. I've been going through so much thing. I have to see things that I have to hold it in my hand before I start accepting it.
Mr. Bryan refuses to apportion blame, a quiet dignity befitting the Windrush community, who have given so much and have been treated so disgracefully. Ashish Joshi, Sky News.
All hail!
So, this is what's going on over here. As people keep saying to me to look over here. See, as you can see, they are deporting people. There's a lot going on over here. I mean, if I was to cover every news that come on over here, it'd be full of stabbings, because there was loads of stabbings at one point over here with the young boys. It's yeah. So as you see, the one with the family, that I think that's the saddest one ever, to be honest. And also the fact that they are the deportation thing has been happening for a while. Like I said, there's a lady I put on the community tab called Paulette. I think it's Paulette Wilson, I think her name is. She was going through that. They sent her straight to Jamaica, and she had to fight to come back over here, because because she was part of the Windrush generation. And I think there was another guy where he served in the forces, and he's from Dominica, and they was telling him that he needs to pack his bags and go. They all put him in deportation facility. They treat him real bad, okay? It's no joke thing. So when people's talking about people should come out of this country and that country and this country, you have to be mindful, because they might look at you as a foreigner, even if you're born in that space. Even if you're born in, i.e., like, I'm born over here, they might say, oh yeah, right, you are not, right, you might have to go. They put you in a detention center or detain you and then send you back. Now, you who's made life over here probably don't know the ins and outs of the country that your parents come from, probably have never visited there. You get shipped over there. Now, there is a level of ignorance to a certain extent where people think when they hear an English voice, they think, oh yeah, you got money, you got this. All right, that has always been a Caribbean mindset or West Indian mindset. Somewhat, it all depends on whether they traveled, whether they come out of Jamaica or Trinidad or wherever. And they would, when they see you with the English accent, they think, okay, right, this one have money. Okay, so unless people have traveled back and forth between countries or whatever, where they have a level of understanding of the country, and then they pack you up, just land you in the middle of nowhere. You ain't got no links, no certificate, no nothing to your name, no links to your name. So you have to start all over again, trying to find your way to make something work. Okay? Unless you know somebody in that country that can help you. And people take advantage of people who's from another country. Okay? So that's why it's very wrong what's happening, right? This Windrush scandal has been going on for a long time, not just now. Okay? Some people has come over from the islands, as they put it, and have worked here. They have families here. They have generations of family. They worked. They put up with a lot of stick in the 80s, whatever, the sus law, you name it. I can't even name half of what was happening in the past. I did put down the sus law is on my listings. If you go down the channel, you'll see there's an explanation on the sus law, where they couldn't walk nowhere, they have to have a pass, they have to do this. This is also depicted in many depictions or programs, dramas, okay? Now, to me, I feel that when people look at people, they see foreign anyway. They see you as a foreigner. It don't matter where you're born here. whether some people has adapted. You can have the Cockney and Comor. They still see you as what you are. So basically, this is, I mean, the last time they deported, I can't remember, was it over 100 people or something like that? The last time they did that, they deported people, sent them over, landed them in the middle of Jamaica. I think one person did die who they deported one time. So people have to be mindful what they're saying, because like I said, everything's by design. They will separate, divide and rule. Oh, I don't like that one because like they're not this. Oh, I don't like that one because they're not from the islands, and all this fuckeries. It's a lot deeper than that, because when people look at you, they just see black color or whatever, melanated, whatever you want to call yourself. Sometimes, unless you are able to maneuver around all that and build yourself a certain way, like the lady, she was an NHS worker, right? The one who got stabbed up, she was recognized, and she and her family got killed. And there's ones like her, like Dolet, who put something on the map for her family. She built up her life over here. And even though it's two different situations, they're kind of the same in one sense, because she's probably from the Windrush generation too. Hold up a minute. So, in all this said, I'm just bringing some of the news that has happened over here. Like I said, I do cover some news now and again. It's sad to hear about that family that died. Let me put a picture of them up. See if I can find a picture of them. Oh, yeah, here it is. So it's the same thing, one of the same thing, in a kind of way. See, this lady, she worked as an NHS worker over here, and now she got slaughtered because of her good heart. She probably taking the young man as well, and her and her family is passed, and it's a shame. You know what I mean? It's a shame. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna leave it right there at this present moment. If any more news come out about the family or the deportation thing, I'm gonna put it up. Okay, this is I'll say this is as real as it gets now, because I think this is I can't remember, because there was a fire with a family around south as well, like the south area. It always seems to happen around south. That's what I noticed. Bermondsey and certain parts of south. I can't remember all the parts, but anyways, I'm gonna come off. I'm not even gonna sit on here long. So thank you for passing through, Bigo and Chrissy. And as you know, I get it real early, so I have to cut it real quick, But there's a lot going on. So please leave a comment underneath. I know some of the people who's from the UK who knows about all this is going on, they, will understand, will get this, So with that said, I'm gonna come off. Okay? Alright, I'll see you. Bye. Oh yes, also subscribe to Ocean Yemi Media as well. I won't bring up the subject on this video because this is a whole situation here. So with that said, I'm gonna come off. I will see you. Bye.